everybody, Heather here. Welcome to another great review. Another good episode of Bubble Guppies in my opinion. Today we're looking at the first episode that was released, called Clambulance. In my opinion, a very good episode. And alright, so here's the plot. When Una's friend Avi falls off his tricycle and hurts his tail, and he's sent to the hospital with the Clambulance, Mr. Grouper talks about our bones and what the doctors do, like listening to hearts and getting shots. Okay, so here's the summary. Molly introduces herself and tries to say it's time for Bubble Guppies, but Gil comes over and proceeds to give her a checkup, putting a thermometer on her head and to take her temperature. He takes it off and he says, very interesting. Molly asks about it and then he says it means it, and they both exclaim, it's time for Bubble Guppies. Una's on her way to school one morning when she hears her friend Avi riding on his tricycle. He tries to show her how well he can ride, but his mom warns him to be careful. But then he suddenly hits a rock and he falls down, and he says his tail hurts. His mom calls the hospital to hope it's not a serious injury. Una asks if he will be okay, and soon the Clambulance shows up and they quickly get Avi onto a stretcher. After assuring Una that Avi will be okay, Avi and his mom say farewell and take off. Una continues towards school. At school, Una is quick to explain what happened to Avi, and to all of the Bubble Guppies begin to worry too. But Mr. Grouper tells them that if Avi is really hurt, the doctor will fix him up and heal his injured bones. And Nani explains what an X-ray is. An X-ray is a picture of your bones. Dima questions this, a bit skeptical, until Mr. Grouper informs them that some fish do indeed have bones, though others do not. The Bubble Guppies then curiously begin to feel the different bones in their arms, and Mr. Grouper describes the bones, like the bones in Molly's hand, the bone in Gobi's head, or his skull, and the bones in the Una's tail, or in this case the Guppy's tail, is just like Avi's. The bones in your hand allow you to pick things up. The bone in your head is called your skull, and it protects your brain. And the bones in your tail help you to swim. And then we have probably one of my favorite pop songs in the entire series. Got a bunch of bones, Got a bunch of bones inside me. Got a bunch of bones inside me. Yeah. A whole bunch of bones that everyone owns underneath the skin we're in. After the song, Una is awaiting the results for a recent X-ray. When Dr. Dima swims into the room, she puts the X-rays on the light board. She soon struggles as she has multiple X-rays and puts them up onto the machine. After she has a few. Then she first finds the X-ray of Una's head, but then she has a few struggles with her body by accidentally putting on 2 legs and then a fish's body, and then finally her X-ray. So yeah, and then it was time for lunch. And Gil makes the lunch joke, a ambulance on rye. Okay, so then we have the first Molly and Gil segment where Gil is trying to scare Molly with a fake skeleton he found, but she tells him it isn't scary since bones are naturally in everyone. She tries to show him and grabs a small handheld X-ray machine, but Gil grows increasingly nervous until she shows him her skull, and he panics. then turns to the fake skeleton and screams, then runs away while Molly giggles. In class, Gil and Nani are pretending that Clam is hurt and covering him in bandages, while Dima and Molly pretend to be sick, and they tell Mr. Grouper to play too, but when they see a depressed Una, she turns down their invite to play with them. Mr. Grouper tries to cheer her up by telling them what doctors do to their patients and how they make them feel better. Gobi then sings the dance song. Outside, Gil and Dima are two jungle doctors who are going around to heal any sick or hurt animals. They first come to a sick elephant and they give her some tissues to blow her in the trunk. Before leaving, an odd gorilla shows up and frightens them away. Soon they find a hippo who has scraped his knee, and they gave him a bandage. The gorilla shows up again, and Gil and Dima drive faster, in hopes to escape. However, they accidentally drive close to a cliff and lose their first aid kit. The gorilla shows up as they begin to panic, and they worry about getting eaten, only for Nani to point out the gorillas don't eat people. Dima then finally asks if he's sick, while Gil asks why he was following them. The gorilla explains that it only wanted to play, but they kept running away, meaning that he's very lonely. Dima and Gil apologize, and they promise to be his friend and play with him. The story ends as they all share a hug, and everyone lives happily ever after. Molly comes over to see Gil giving some of the little fish checkups by checking their throats. He makes each one say ah, but while not paying attention, and the fact that the Molly did try to warn him, Gil is suddenly blown away by a big blue fish. When it's his turn to say, then Mr. Grouper takes the Guppies on a field trip to the hospital to visit Avi. First, they get into an elevator and go up to the 5th floor. So then they quickly locate Avi. Una is very happy to see him there as the doctor shows up to explain and show everyone that Avi broke a bone in his tail by showing them Avi's x-ray. But with his cast, he'll heal up soon. Avi asks Una and her friends if they want to sign his cast, and the doctor tells Avi that he can leave when he's ready, only to be stopped by Dima. Upon being asked why he can't leave yet, they replies that they still need to do the doctor dance. Una, Avi, and the doctor, Avi's mom, and Demon begin to sing, and soon are joined by the others as the episode ends. Which is basically a reprise of the earlier pop song, but got a bunch of bones. Anyway, Molly begins to speak once more as Gil is still trying to figure out how to be a good doctor. Unknown to Gil, the big blue fish sneaks behind him and says ah again, sending him flying away again. Okay, so this episode was very good. A very good episode in my opinion. I really love the idea of them talking about like how doctors do stuff to help us make us feel better. And the Bunch of Bones song is literally my favorite song in the entire series. I really do. I absolutely loved the idea of them talking about like x-rays and bones and like the other things doctors do for us. I really loved the scene where Molly was trying to scared Gil by showing him her skeleton, and then he got scared by the fake skeleton he was trying to scare her with. That was pretty funny. Overall, I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. Very good episode, especially because it's the series premiere. Overall, I really do like it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!